And we are back. Welcome back, everybody, to a very delayed new episode of Fitness Decoded. It's been
What's our favorite game to play? What episode number is it? What episode number is it?
I have absolutely no idea. I'm probably thinking like 20 something.
Did we hit 20? I would say like 18, 19.
Yeah, but I feel like we were at like 18, 19 for the last like 5 or 6 of them. So at some point
That's very
we
true.
must have hit 20. That being said, though, we haven't done an episode in about 2 months.
Yeah.
I think both not a lot has changed and still quite a bit has changed since then. But yeah, today we're going to talk about the diet that we set in motion about 7, almost 8 months ago now, because it was May.
I always confuse if it's May or March. Is it May?
It was May, yeah. It was middle of May.
June, July, August, September, October, December. Yeah, like 7, 6, 7, 8. Well, say 7. Say 7. Around there.
May is the 5th,
30,
5,
30 weeks, pretty much.
Basically, yeah, 30, and then this last kind of week that we haven't tracked. But I think originally we set out for a 12-week. It was only supposed to be 12 weeks, I think, was the initial plan. So
I honestly forget. Let me see. I think I have the notes. Let's see.
I think it was meant to be 12 weeks, and then from there we kind of said, well, do you want to keep going? We kept going, basically till we hit the goal that we really wanted to hit, which was, well, we'll talk about that in just a second here. But yeah, I guess for context, if you haven't been keeping up with the last, well, basically most of the episodes we've done, because we kind of touch base on it every time we do an episode, we started a diet plan for myself May of this year. I was sitting around, well, we recorded a high of 261. I want to say even before we started recording, I was around 265, maybe even possibly 270. I didn't start weighing myself. The first time I weighed myself this year, I was sitting at 265. That being said, though, 6 months later, we are now down 50 pounds. I recorded a low of 214 last week, which is pretty good. 50 pounds, 6 months, I'd call that a dietary success.
It's really funny because you're always really nonchalant, but like, yeah, probably still going, but you just dropped, a 50-pound dumbbell worth of weight.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy to think about exactly like what it's like to carry around 50 pounds on your body.
Yeah.
But yeah, and to kind of break it down, this was kind of just achieved by making lifestyle changes, mainly diet changes. We didn't really account for too much physical activity.
No, the most that we did was maybe at first, just keeping steps consistent between like, I wouldn't even say keeping steps consistent. We were just kind of aware of your regular step count, just like somewhere between like, 7 to 10,000 steps, like on a weekly average per day. So
obviously being locked down during this period as well, there was only, so much we can do. And then I think the lockdown and quarantining over the last few years is really the reason why, because I think I'd say at least 30 of the pounds I accumulated to get up to 265 was probably between January and April of this year. That's probably when I've been the most sedentary and kind of just like started eating garbage. It was cold outside, so I was stuck inside, sat at this desk, kind of just doing nothing all day, every day, from January to, well, pretty much when we started, which was May. January to May is when I accumulated most of that weight. But yeah, let's get into it. Do you want to start with kind of the slides, or not the
spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with the spreadsheet first.
All right, so let's pull this up. Oh, those are the pictures. That's not the spreadsheet. We'll go into that a little bit after. We got some before and after for you, which is pretty cool.
Let me know when it's up, because I'm a little bit delayed.
Yeah, let me pull it up. Where is it? There we go. All right.
What's up?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm gonna assume you're on like all the way to like week 1,
Yeah.
like shift it over there, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay,
zoom in a
so
little bit on this.
do you want to break this down? All right, let's go over like what this even is,
Mm-hmm.
overall. I mean, like we used a Monday to like a Sunday like schedule for the most part. Like some people they'll obviously change it up depending on like what they count as the beginning of their week. But this is what we went with. So at like obviously the first like bit of data, that's like we did a daily weigh-in and we took the average. If you see at the bottom, we just kind of put the equation at the bottom, so it just took the average. Obviously the average is going to be higher than our lowest weigh-in, but I guess a lot of the time we just looked at that low weigh-in, as to how much overall weight was probably lost that week, but we still took the average, to kind of compare week to week in regards to estimating how much weight was lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, in that first week, there was like a high of like 261 and a low of 255. So even with just making small like adjustments here and there, you drop like 5 pounds of presumably water weight for the most part in that first week. So that kind of just illustrates like why it's kind of important to take averages, because there's no way you would have dropped 5 pounds of fat over the span of like 5 days for the most part. Underneath there, at the beginning, we tracked food for a little bit to kind of get a feel for it, but like basically after week 10 till the end, till week 30, you just pretty much eyeballed everything, right?
Right. Like I guess also for more context, my diet, while I did kind of change it, I didn't really change. Like I didn't have any specific foods. It wasn't a diet in that sense. It was purely caloric based. So I just took a collection of foods that was easy enough to incorporate into my diet. Tracked the calories of those, as you can kind of see through the first kind of few weeks here. Obviously there were some weeks where I didn't, but that's because when you eat the same thing week after week after week, you already know how many calories are in what you're eating. And my diet didn't really change. I followed the OMAD philosophy, which is basically just extreme intermittent fasting, which is one meal a day, pretty much like 24 hours apart. So it's one meal a day at the same time, more or less every day, and just making sure that all of those meals are containing the calories that I need for the day. So yeah, we kind of floated for the most part between like, I'd say a high of 1,800. I don't think I ever went over that, at least for the majority of the weeks. Let me see if I can
for like the first like 20-ish weeks. We'll talk a little bit more about like some interesting things that we found in regards to how calories changed and how progress was still made. But at the beginning, it took like a pretty like low calorie extreme approach, like the first 5 weeks, like basically hovering between like 1,000 to 1,500. Right. In fact, when we even look at this sheet, like between like week 1 and 10, that's when the greatest amount of weight was lost. Like you lost about 261, week 10, a low of 241. So yeah, about 20 pounds in those first 10 weeks, So that was pretty much looking like 2 pounds per week, and it shows in the calories because you started off fairly aggressive, which, it can be a mixed strategy. Some people, you may find that you can stall yourself out too quickly if you go too low because of, adaptive thermogenesis, is that the term?
I believe so.
I believe so. Like the body adapts very quickly to prevent, further tissue loss. So you basically just stunt your BMR and it gets too low and you can't really drop anymore. But for you, we got like lucky in that aspect that those calories were, enough to get the weight loss like aggressive in the first bit, but didn't stall you out like whatsoever moving forward. In fact, let's just kind of go over like that's week 1 to 10, week 11 to week 20. I think, let's see, let me highlight that for myself. A high of 243 and a low of 223. So, yeah, we could say approximately like 15, 20-ish pounds. And then from week 21 to week 30, I think it was like a high of 225 to a low of 214, so about 10 pounds. So, over time, the rate of loss, drastically dropped as you kind of, lost that first initial 20, 30 pounds-ish, So that's pretty much how things move. In fact, I kind of wanted to touch on the food aspect. It's funny because you started off fairly aggressive, but afterwards,
like 800 calorie days in here.
There were, but afterwards, maybe post maybe like week 19 or 20, or even halfway around, maybe post week 18, You know, you like your food was probably sitting around maybe like 1,500 to 2,000. You
Around
know,
there, yeah.
like you're just not even like as a decision, but just that's what you found comfortable for the most part, and we
Hmm.
were still making progress. Like it's very interesting that even with a bump in food, like progress slowed down, but progress was still being made. I
Exactly.
think another aspect to mention is like the entire time you're fairly comfortable.
Hmm. Like at no point did I feel like, oh man, this diet really sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. Like week after week, I was like, yeah, I'm good to keep going. We hit that week 12, that 12-week cap, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. Let's keep losing. And then I think we shot for week 20.
Yeah.
Tried to hit 220 by week 20, didn't really happen. Kind of capped out around 225s for a number, like basically from week 18 to week 20. It was not a whole lot of change. There was a couple weeks where we stalled out a little bit, which is fine to be expected, and then we keep going after that. But I think, well, 220 was the initial goal, was it not?
The 12-week goal was 235, and then
235,
after
right?
that we pushed to 220, and then after when we hit 220, we're like, you know what? If we can hit 210 comfortably, then let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
By I think what was that week 25, you hit 220,
Right.
and then from there we're just kind of like, you know what? Let's just see what happens. And then by when you hit 214, we basically went off based on like the holidays getting close. So
Right.
once the holidays rolled around, it was like, you know what, there's no point to diet through the holidays. Let's just cap it at 215, 214. And, because at that point you were fairly happy. Well,
Mm-hmm.
in regards to how much weight's lost and how you feel, like 210, and you're probably like, we've hit peak lean Matt, but there's no real reason to push for another 5 pounds just for another weeks than to just switch the focus.
Right. And like, just so I weighed in today, and this is obviously results of the holiday season and holiday eating, as we all do. And this was expected, this was planned, but I weighed in today at like 220. So I mean,
Yeah.
you could look at that and go, oh, well, that's going to set me back to, like, when did I hit 220? Week 25. It's going to set me back 5 weeks. It's going to take me 5 weeks to get back to 214. No, it's probably going to take me a couple weeks, which I kind of already accounted for.
Yeah. Like, what other things I want to mention? Well, we had 3 like break weeks in between, so realistically this was all in 27 weeks instead of 30. And those weeks, when did those weeks come about? They came about at week 8, week 18, and week 27. So almost all at 8. Almost all 10 weeks in apart. Some of those were no, I don't believe any of them were planned, right?
No. They
They just kind of came about.
Mhm.
Which totally fine, and probably if we were gonna do it again, we would probably have those planned.
Right.
Around maybe every 10 weeks or so. But realistically, if we're gonna do that, we wouldn't push for 30 weeks. We would probably cap it out at the most, maybe like 16 to 20. But that's in theory, and that's in regards to the person, like their comfort levels. But for you, we just kind of kept pushing until things got uncomfortable, and they didn't get uncomfortable. So you're definitely an odd case out, when it comes to dieting. Like 50 pounds down without really breaking a sweat, quite literally.
Literally no physical activity involved. I mean, moderate with just daily activity, work. And over the summer I did get some activity in, and interestingly enough, and I think we talked about it already on the podcast, but I was running for a little bit as well, and
Yeah.
running actually provided the opposite effect in terms of weight loss, where I wasn't losing any weight. Mainly just because in theory that physical activity should have worked, but the problem I was finding was the more I ran, the hungrier I would kind of perceive myself to be based on my energy expenditure. So I would just eat more, and I would probably eat more than what my body was burning, and in that case I'm kind of maintaining my weight. I am getting good physical activity in, but I'm not losing at the same rate, so I kind of cut off the running a little bit just to get down to where we want it to be. But we'll touch a bit on it a little bit later, but we do have some physical activity planned moving forward as well.
I remember you gained weight.
I did, yeah.
During that period.
I gained weight. I was working out and gaining weight, which was not not where I wanted to be.
Yeah, which was I found it was hilarious that like just all conventional aspects of weight loss, we just went back to the basics of just focusing on the food, and then attack different objectives later on.
Right.
Um, See, is there anything else I want to touch on? Let me think. Oh, waist circumference.
Oh yes.
111 centimeters to 83 centimeters. So almost 20 centimeters off your waist circumference.
Right. So.
Don't have a tape measure on me, but do you wanna pull up the pants?
So I got the tape measure as well. So just for reference, we said what we started at 111 circumference.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be. I mean, that's over a meter of waist circumference. So you can't even. I don't even know if I can get it all in frame here. Hang on. Or to this side, yeah. So basically, that's gonna be 111. Now we brought that down to 83. So we're about here now. I can fit my entire waist circumference in frame. But for reference, so I've got pants on right now that I bought a little over a year ago, which was kind of when I started to get up there, and I needed to get extra large because extra large was the only thing that would fit me. And also keep in mind that, yes, this is an elastic waistband, so it is going to stretch, but I needed an elastic waistband. Anything else just wouldn't work for me. So, let's try and get it in frame here. So obviously I'm wearing them now, but I've got about this much space now left in these pants. See if I can open it up. That's a lot of space.
I'm delayed, so I'm gonna take your word for it. Yeah, okay. I just caught up. That is a lot of space. Mm-hmm. Damn.
And like, I just want to preface: yes, it is an elastic waistband, so it is going to stretch a little bit more.
Yeah.
But even a lot of the non-elastic waistband, like I had to buy a belt for the first time in years this year because all of the clothes that I bought, because I kind of just at some point accepted being fat.
Yeah.
I kind of just said, all right, well, this is it. This is my life now. I need to start building my life around being overweight, being unhealthy. So I bought a whole bunch of fat people clothes. Well, I wouldn't say fat people clothes, but larger.
Fat relative to yourself.
Yeah, it's not like I was going to, the XXL, the triple XLs. Like, I've been large for most of my adolescence and early adult years, and I think this is probably the first. Well, starting last year, the first year that I'd ever have to go to extra large and have extra large like fit. So I wore a lot of baggy clothes to kind of hide the fact that I was gaining weight, and you couldn't really see it. And like I talked to a lot of people, and they go, "Oh, like I didn't even notice that like you were overweight." I was like, "That's because I hid it well." And I think the reason I started the diet was because it got to the point where I couldn't hide it anymore. Like even the baggy clothes were starting to show that things were getting a little bit on the heavy side. So we've got some pictures here from I guess the before times. Let's pull them up here. So as you can see, middle picture, we've got myself very miserable, being fat, slumped over. Posture is a whole other thing too. When you got a lot of weight on you, your posture also starts to kind of suffer a little bit as well. But yeah, you can kind of see on the side pictures here, there's quite a bit of a bulge. Let's see if I can make these larger just for context. So yeah, quite a bit of a bulge going on. Not great looking, to be honest. Same here. Whoops, where'd it go? Big, rotund. Even these pants, very comfortable pants, but they're kind of fighting for their lives in this picture. I'm not going to lie to you. Now those pictures are too big. Like, they almost fall down. I got to pull the drawstring, which isn't great.
Yeah.
But
with the sports check shirt.
Yeah, the work uniform. And that's the problem. I had to go to work. I couldn't hide the uniform in a sweater. So I kind of just had to live with that, which was unfortunate. Now it's very nice, fits very well. But let me do a quick little thing. So obviously now can't really see that bulge. Like even if I pull it straight, like really tighten it up, nothing. Smooth.
Oh shit! Yeah. Again, I'm a little bit delayed if anybody's wondering. Well, I'm just staring blankly at the screen, but yeah.
Do a quick little. Yeah. So this is where
50 pounds had to go somewhere.
Lift up and straight.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I think a lot of the weight was lost in the face as well. It also helped that I shaved a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's not as much. I think the beard adds a little bit of a bloat to it as well. But yeah, no, overall feeling good. Exercising is easier because I'm 50 pounds lighter. It would like imagine walking around with a 50-pound dumbbell on your back all day, every day.
Imagine if you started running back then.
For
Your joints definitely would not have been happy with that.
for every activity that you do, you're just carrying around 50 pounds on you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, things are looking much better now. I'm feeling good, feeling very confident about myself. I went back down to a large. I can fit into a large. Even the shirt that I'm wearing today, I couldn't wear this shirt for 2 years without it being like very, very skin tight. It wasn't even comfortable, which sucked because I love this shirt. But now I fit into this shirt no problem. I'm finding clothes that I bought 2 years ago when I bought. And here's the thing: I don't return anything when I buy them, just because maybe I'm lazy. But and this is the first time this has actually worked out this way, where I'll buy them. Clothes don't fit, they're too small, and I go, that's motivation to lose weight.
Yeah.
I never seriously like considered losing weight, but now I'm finding these clothes that I bought 2 years ago, and they fit perfectly.
Technically, you save money because now you have clothes that fit you and oversized clothes now too.
Exactly. So
Comfier, oversized clothes.
it all came full circle. We're doing well now.
Do you want to just do one little last comparison on your IG of
So
your most recent guitar one and then the one in the Columbia sweater?
So you can kind of see. Oh, let me pull up our screen cap here. That's not it. God, I hate that picture, but it is what it is.
Sad.
Let me fit this to screen.
What month was that picture in?
That was September of 2020.
Gotcha.
So yeah, a little over a year ago. Let's pull up the IG here though. So when did I really start to kind of get fat? So you can mainly see it in this video here, just very, very rotund, you could say, very circular. And you can kind of see it through over time. Things kind of get a little bit slimmer. Even this one too, you can definitely see it. I think a lot of the weight is in the shoulders and the chest. You can kind of see, as well as the face. Let's scroll up here. Started training over the summer, or at least got some physical activity. We got that one. Still a little bit you can kind of see in the shoulders, and then we'll go to the most recent one. Kind of looking like a skinny boy over here. You can't really see it because I've got my my legs crossed, so you can't really see the belly too much, but you can just see it in the shoulders, you can see it in the neck, you can see it in the face as well. Looking a lot healthier than I did.
How you feeling overall? I know like every week you'd be like, I don't really feel too different, but now like reminiscing on it, like from when we started, like I guess during COVID lockdown, during like the beginning of the year to now.
I mean, the funny thing is, it's like overall, generally, I don't feel much different. I think it's mainly noticeable doing certain activities where I go, oh wow, this doesn't suck anymore.
Yeah.
For example, like upper body strength for me, I've never focused on upper body strength. At max, I've probably only been able to do like 10 push-ups, and that is struggling. But now I'm up to like I think 25 unimpeded continuous 25 push-ups, which is pretty good for me.
Yeah.
That's really good for me. Again, like taking that 50 pounds off, throw 50 pounds on your back and do 25 push-ups.
Yeah.
It's gonna get difficult for sure.
I mean, like that shows, that's just straight weight loss. Because we did no training whatsoever during this entire time, aside from the little bit of running,
None at all, yeah. And again, the running did not help. The running pushed us in the other direction. But all of this was done straight up through diet manipulation, following the very basic principles of calories in versus calories out.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really get too specific in regards to adding calories on top of activity and kind of doing different calories every day. Like it was just kind of have a maximum cap probably of 2,000 at a certain point of the diet, and then anytime between 15 and 2000, you just kind of ate to I guess comfort for the most part in that one meal that you had during the day, and then we just kind of moved from there. You kept it as simple as possible,
Yeah.
and just doing the basics. It worked. It worked overall.
It, the
Like
science checked out. Crazy,
yeah,
crazy how that works.
crazy how that works. Yeah, like we just kept it simple for the most part. I mean, like your usual diet was like beef, rice, and then a little bit of takeout here and there.
Like I would say like an ideal week for me, we're looking at beef and rice. That was my main thing. Occasionally, we got some salmon and rice as well thrown in there. And the thing is, like, I didn't stop eating the foods that I enjoyed. Obviously, some food I did cut back on. Like I love pizza. I think for a number of months I took pizza straight out of the diet just because pizza, it's great, but it is one of the most calorically dense foods that you can get. Like one
Yeah.
large pizza with, I get like a large pizza, 3 topping pizza, and this important part, I'd get like cheese sticks on the side. And at a certain point I was eating that, like, I think one time I had that 3 times in a week, at the peak of my obesity. Did you call it obesity?
I think you're getting close.
Like I think like
I
my
think you're
BMI
getting
had to
close.
be like above 30. It had to be.
Yeah.
There's no way it wasn't.
When I remember what you looked like, you were getting like it hadn't started going to your legs yet.
No.
I think if it had started going to your legs, then yeah. But I think you're just you're kind of bordering like overweight and obese. Like the BMI. It's a nice way to calculate things, but like just based on how you look, like you're getting a little close there.
Yeah. Definitely turned into a bit of a thick boy. Which I still am, but the thickness is in the places that it should be and not the places
Yeah.
it's not supposed to be.
I just thought of the fact that now you can do 10 push-ups with 50 pounds on your back instead of 10 push-ups just being 50 pounds heavier. That's way more impressive.
Exactly.
It looks much cooler.
Yeah. But yeah, no, purely dietary change. We got the beef and rice. I didn't stop eating like fast food. Obviously, like things like pizza, I did cut out just because, like, 4,000 calories, just that'll screw the entire thing up. That'll wreck me for an entire week. That being said, I did have some celebratory pizzas here and there. Maybe like once a month. Like burger and fries. Also, I kind of cut that out. I pretty much cut it down to just like, if I am getting fast food, stick with things that are okay. So I would get like a chicken shawarma, which was good. I'd get like a burrito now and again. I maybe wouldn't get the fries with that burrito. I just get the burrito. Modifying the fast food that I did enjoy, maybe not getting so much of it, but still being able to enjoy the foods that I like. And here we are 6 months later, and I've lost 50 pounds. I didn't feel like I was being starved. I didn't feel like I was missing out on the foods that I used to love. I didn't feel like I didn't have very many dietary options. In fact, I probably had more dietary options than I actually chose, because I kept it very strict with the food that I bought. But I found buying limited food like that, and having beef and rice 3 times a week, 4 times a week, what have you, that's why I stopped counting the calories, because it gets very instinctual. How many calories are what you're eating. You can track it very specifically, because the foods that you're eating, the portions that you're having, is very, very easy to track. So
Yeah.
when you boil it down to just the calories in versus the calories out, which is what we did, it just becomes numbers at that point. Track it on the spreadsheet. We got the numbers. There's consistency, from the diet does not change from week 2 to week 25. It's basically the same thing, maybe a little bit more of what I was eating from week 2, but the general foods that we have incorporated in my diet did not change. So that being said,
As well as like your activity level too.
activity level did increase a little bit when lockdown was lifted, and obviously over the summer months I got to go outside a little bit more, do a little bit more outdoors. I started training over the summer, so that definitely did help with a lot of things. And this is not going to work for everybody. I'm quite frankly very shocked it worked for me. Maybe I'm built different. I don't know. I don't really have
Now you are.
Yeah, literally I am now. But and maybe it's a little bit disingenuous to say, oh yeah, losing weight is easy. I did it, and I didn't even notice I was really doing it. It didn't impact my life in any other way other than feeling good, feeling better from last week after week for 30 straight weeks. But if you do follow this theory, and I guess it is a theory because it does not work consistently for everyone, but it should.
Yeah.
I feel like there's very few outliers where this model does not work. But yeah, losing weight doesn't have to be this whole, torture thing. You're like, oh, I'm so hungry all the time. Oh, I can't enjoy the things that I used to love. Because no, my enjoyment did not cease. There was maybe a few days where I was like, yeah, I'm kind of hungry, but I kind of gotta, suck it up for the greater good here. But overall, 30 weeks of losing 50 pounds, I felt good, felt better than I have felt in years. And I enjoyed myself doing it, and I'd do it again. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to try it. Right now, I'd say the goal is to stay just in the two teens, between 210, 220. And if I ever wanted to get into like peak performance mode, probably shoot for a sub 210, between 200 and 210. But I have no reason to get there right now. I'm not competing for anything. I just like to maintain in the two teens, but knowing and seeing how quickly I can kind of lose 10 pounds, knowing that if I ever wanted to get to that section, I can just go from 220 to sub 210 instead of having to go from 270 to sub 210, and losing half a year just trying to get into shape. Because I'm kind of in that, it's a good place to be. It's a good maintenance mode, with performance mode being easily accessible with a few weeks of extra dieting and maybe some modifications on what we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, like, overall, like the goal was achieved and exceeded way beyond what we thought we were gonna do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we had to move the goalposts 2 separate times.
Yeah.
Just essentially, because I got more in the tank. There's more I can do. I want to see how far we can take this.
Yeah. I mean, like, we went off based on like how you're feeling. You're still feeling good. Nothing like not feeling bad. And kept it pushing. We basically achieved step 1 of getting your health back on track, which was to drop all the excess body fat for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I guess is a good segue into what's up next.
Right.
All right. Do you want to start off with it, or should I?
This picture, it's done. It's gone. I keep pulling it up. We're gonna delete that picture from history. It's from a shittier time. So yeah, let's pull up the. Do you want to over? I got 2 things over here. I got the kind of general plan we're looking at here, and I've got the actual full macro cycle we got going on.
Do you want to do the? I guess let's talk about the food first, because we've talked about that. Want to talk about how we're gonna optimize like your eating and health overall?
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Where did we even record that?
That one's on Matt Diet Plan 2022 weight maintenance.
True. Is it?
Yeah, hold up. I'll do this. I'll just send it to you on IG, the link.
I swear I already had this one.
It's Matt Diet Plan, but just the new one.
Alright, let's see here. I really gotta start organizing my Google Drive. My business drive is like super organized. I got folders for everything, but my actual personal drive is such a mess. There we go. I swear to God, this is the one I have.
I think that was the.
No, it's not. I got the training/diet plan. All right, let's pull this up.
Yeah, that was when we were kind of like scheming on what we wanted to do.
Alrighty.
Got it up?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me go over it. So, we're going on. We're gonna keep you on maybe 2,000 calories as a minimum, and we're gonna add activity onto that. Just make sure you don't drop any weight. And then it's kind of the same thing we did before. Activity, we quantify it by steps. I forget what I have you on now for steps. Actually, I know I put it on the what's it called? I put it on the other one. Hold up, I got it. Yeah, now I see which one you opened up. Hold up. Regardless, not really important, but yeah, here it is. Here's the data sheet, the check-in thing. Boom. Come on. Load.
Probably pull that up. So steps. What do you have? Yeah. We started
17 steps per calories.
What was it before? It was 13, right?
I think it was somewhere around there. Yeah. So basically, obviously, as you get lighter, 17 steps. The number of steps per calorie increases because it becomes less demanding for the body to expend energy on steps. So as Matt essentially gets lighter, his steps per calorie increase. So that's going to pop up. He's now at 17 steps per calorie, roughly estimated, wherever he sits now. 2,000 calories, like I said. So we add step calories on top of that, plus workout calories, which we'll get to in a second. When it comes to macros, I think we bumped your protein up to like about 150 grams plus. That's it's well under 1 gram per pound of body weight, but we're kind of estimating that your maintenance calories is somewhere around 2,000. It's realistically a little bit higher than that for the most part, but we'll just go based off that and see what happens for the most part. If your weight dips based on the activity, then we'll kind of bump it up a little bit more as we go. As we keep going, but eventually that protein is going to eventually creep up to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Carbohydrate, again, 225 grams plus. We want carbohydrates high to aid in performance, and then fats 56 grams plus, but I'll probably put in a range in regards to where I don't want you to exceed. In fact, I don't know if I actually put that, because I want to keep it around maybe about 0.3 grams per pound of body weight, which would be at the moment for you, let's say you're 215, 64.5. So, I would say around maybe 60 to 70 grams of fat per day for the most part, keeping that low and kind of biasing everything more towards protein and fats. I won't go into the specific training periodization because we've covered that so much in that other all the way back in regards to nutrient timing and stuff like that, so I'm not going to go over that. But basically for the foods, for the most part, during your diet, we focused strictly on just weight loss. We didn't really care too much about the specific contents of the food. We kept things mainly whole foods because they're lower in calorie, but we didn't really care about micros, macronutrients, and stuff like that. Now, since you're maintaining your weight loss isn't the goal. We're really trying to optimize health, and we're doing that through various ways in regards to manipulating macros. So when it comes to our protein, we're probably sticking to leaner meats for the most part, but I know you prefer beef, so I think the recommendation, was leaner cuts of beef and then potentially vegan meats if that's something that, that comes around. And then if protein becomes, an issue to ingest, then, well, we got, protein bars or a protein powder, something like that. So that's what protein is. We're moving towards just ideally some leaner meats for the most part. When it comes to carbs, since, we're incorporating a little bit more performance, we're kind of, we're bringing in some higher glycemic carbs, kind of. We're still keeping things fairly high in fiber, just because that's something else we kind of want to work on just for health reasons. So I think over there, I put whole grains for the majority of our carbohydrate sources. In regards to the processed stuff, and then legumes, beans, quinoa, chickpeas, and then obviously we want to still keep some high volume foods like fruits and vegetables. One, to make sure you don't gain the weight back. And then two, just health reasons overall. So, yeah, I said high glycemic carbohydrate, but I messed up in that. Well, I wouldn't say messed up. We want to bias whole grain stuff because it keeps, the satiation good to make sure you don't gain the weight back. But we do want to keep some high glycemic carbs for performance reasons, just so, if you start, when you get to the trading aspect, you don't just, it doesn't just mess up your digestion because it's too slow to digest for the most part.
Right.
And then our fats, again, we're ideally biasing higher protein fats to help with that fat goal. So we got eggs. I know fish is something you like. What was the one fish you said you eat a lot?
Salmon and trout. I'd say those are my two go-tos.
I don't know. Is trout a fattier fish? I know salmon is.
I'm not entirely sure. I'll be honest. I would assume so. I would assume all fish is relatively fatty.
I know there's some I think cod was one. I was doing a diet plan for somebody else earlier, and I remember I listed some less fatty fish, but I forget exactly. But yeah, whatever. Fish for the most part usually contain a little bit more fat. They're not as lean, so depending on the fish. But so there we go, higher protein fats. And then in regards to specific fats, we're biasing polyunsaturated and monounsaturated, aka our good fats. If you were gonna ask me which of them impact HDL and LDL, I honestly don't remember. Is it? Hey, this is something I should know. Is it the LDL that you want higher, or the HDL? I think it's the LDL,
I have
like
absolutely no idea.
cholesterol. I believe it's LDL cholesterol is what you want higher than HDL, but which in regards to overall health. But regardless, the polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats, research shows they have a positive impact on that good cholesterol, if you could say, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So we're biasing those in the form of like nuts, potentially seeds, again, fatty fish, avocado, and olives, which would probably be olive oil for the most part if that's what we're cooking with, over our saturated fats, which are, most processed pastries, beef, pork, other fattier meats, cold cuts to a certain extent, some dairies in that aspect. And then the last thing is, making sure we're prioritizing our solid fats over our liquid fats for the most part. And this is all in the sense of health, of getting, those polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats up, and also making sure, the weight just doesn't come back because we get a little bit loose with the eating options.
Right.
Supplements, we're just going with creatine. I don't really think I need to go into big explanation in regards to the benefits of creatine, but when we get to training, we're working on some athletic based stuff, some more explosive movements. So the creatine's definitely gonna aid a little bit in that aspect. And then, do you want to go over realistic meal suggestions, where we kind of, I guess, summarize this into what would make sense?
Yeah, let's kind of put together the list here of things that realistically I would consider incorporating into my new diet, so that I'm not eating beef and rice almost every day for 6 months.
Beef, rice, and other stuff now.
Yes, beef, rice, and a whole bunch of other fun stuff.
All right, you want to go through it?
Yes. So obviously we started with beef and fish. Most of the time it was whole beef. So like, I guess cheaper cuts of meat, sort of like steaks, but not quite steaks. Occasionally ground beef as well. So we're gonna keep that in there, just because I like beef. Beef is my favorite meat. It's relatively cheap. It's very versatile. Doesn't require a lot of work to prepare. That's kind of like why I don't like chicken so much. Just because I feel like you got to do a lot to make chicken taste good, and I don't always have that kind of time. So we're probably going to stick to whole beef, ground beef, fish as well. Probably throw in some cold cuts. So salami is my cold cut of choice. As well as some veggie protein. So we're looking at like lentils, nuts as well. Some kind of veggie protein. What did we say? Chickpeas?
Oh, I was thinking more. I think when I put veggie protein, I think I was talking more about like the fake meats.
Yeah, the fake meats. I don't know if I'm gonna go that route, to be honest.
I've done them before, like the soy based ones.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mind them. Like there was like I remember I had one from like Costco, and they were like these bricks. Like they were like it looked like ground beef, and it tasted okay. I would just say like my farts were just horrendous. That was like the one thing, and my digestion didn't perfectly like assimilate it.
Right.
I was eating a lot at the time. I didn't like taper it or anything, or like gently introduce it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just eating a lot just to try it out. Like just a plant based diet. But there's like a lot. There's like tempeh. There's like the fake meats. There's one that I remember. I forget the name of it, but there's quite a bit.
Yeah, so we do have options for veggie protein. I guess moving on to the carbs here, we got rice. I stick with brown rice. Maybe, well, I don't really have anywhere to buy a while. You know what I was thinking the other day? And I can't believe I've become this person. But I would really, really like it if there was a Whole Foods near me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, I've become the Whole Foods shopper. I never thought I'd get to this point in my life where I would, consider going to Whole Foods before just, the regular grocery store. But here I am, wishing for a Whole Foods in my area. So I was gonna
take it a step further and be a healthy planet.
Right. But no, I was gonna say, like, I was honest, even considering going for wild rice instead of just brown rice.
Yeah.
But I can't really find like good wild rice. I mean, maybe at some of the nicer grocery stores near me, but I don't got that kind of money, you know. Although I am wishing for Whole Foods, but only for a few separate things. A lot of snacks. I like to get snacks from Whole Foods.
What was I gonna say? I know when it comes to like the rice, from what I remember, I guess for people listening, the long grain rices, from what I believe, are like the typically have more fiber, and I guess are a whole grain rice. That's not the right term to give it, but they're the lower glycemic. They'll digest a little bit slower, and I might be wrong, but I think it's the short grain rices, which are like like your rice, your white rice.
Mm-hmm.
I think basmati rice, I may be wrong, are the ones that are like have less micronutrients and just digest like way quicker.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, right now I'm going with long grain brown rice, which is working well for me. I'm gonna start throwing in some pasta. I gotta start looking at some good pasta recipes. Not like maybe not even traditional pasta with like pasta, tomato sauce, all that, but like pasta. Maybe I'll throw some chicken in there, just like pasta, chicken, some kind of like light dressing on the pasta, some peppers or something. So we got options there for pasta. Beans. I'm still trying to figure out what kind of beans I'd like to incorporate here. Probably just gonna stick with like your classic brown beans.
Yeah.
But I haven't had beans in a while, so I'm not sure how I feel about beans still.
When you get a burrito, do you get black or pinto beans?
Honestly, I can't remember. I feel like I think I get pinto.
Okay.
I think I get pinto. I don't really even know what pinto beans are. I kind of just get them and eat them.
They're whatever brown beans they have. I know, like, whenever you get them, they're not even, like, beans at that point. They're, like, basically a bean paste.
Right. It's like refried beans, essentially.
Yeah, essentially.
We're going to throw some oats in there. I do enjoy oatmeal in the mornings and for snacks and stuff. Maybe even do, like a yogurt parfait or something with some oats. That could work,
okay.
Too. Pita, I was talking about this earlier. I really want to find like those good restaurant quality pitas. I bought some from the grocery store the other day, but they weren't good. Like they were okay, they did the job, but I'm looking for that nice like big I guess Mediterranean style pita.
The ones that aren't gonna break on you if you make a wrap.
Right, yeah. Like you fold it and like the bottom broke out and all my toppings came out the bottom. Sucked. Bread, bagels. Gonna stick with and this is a important distinction to know: the distinction between whole grain and whole wheat bread. You want to go for whole grain instead of whole wheat. I believe on the packaging it'll usually tell you there's like a little at least I don't know. This is in Canada, so we have like a little identifier to let you know it's like certified whole grain or whatever.
Yes.
But yeah, it's whole grain is going to be a whole lot better than whole wheat. Just whole grain is going to be exactly how it sounds, the whole grain. So it's going to be a lot more nutrient dense as opposed to whole wheat, which is still obviously better than white bread, but it is quite processed. And you do lose a lot of nutrients going from going to whole wheat there. So,
I just googled it real quick. So the whole wheat means that the bread is made from the entire wheat kernel, so like specifically wheat.
Right.
Whole grain means that the bread can be made of, or whatever, like pita, bagel, whatever, can be made of any whole grain kernel. Mm-hmm. This grain can be wheat, or it can be another grain like spelt, oats, or barley. Okay, gotcha. So I guess like the whole grain is just a multitude of different grains. So you get like various different micronutrients from different grains.
Right.
Instead of just wheat.
Yes, because wheat's good, but bread.
You want to kind of diversify.
You might as well get the most out of your bread, essentially.
Yeah.
Moving on to fruits, I usually like my top picks are mangoes and raspberries. Those are my two favorite fruits. I usually go frozen just because it's a whole lot less work. I can just pull it out of a bag into a bowl and enjoy my fruit instead of having to. Well, raspberries isn't bad. It just comes in a little carton. But I find the problem with buying raspberries is once I start, I cannot stop. So like a little carton of raspberries will just be demolished, and fresh raspberries are not cheap. Especially this time of year. And then mangoes, like you could buy fresh mangoes, but those will never be cheap because obviously mangoes do not grow here.
Have you tried like the dried ones? Do they make dried mangoes? They do.
Yeah, I have. Not a fan of dried fruit, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Especially the dried mangoes. I think at one point, like I had dried mangoes, and I actually tried to like rehydrate it by like leaving it in water. It,
How did that go?
yeah, it kind of worked.
It kind of worked.
It
That's
just
funny.
tasted like soggy dry mangoes.
Do you have a bulk barn near you? Is there? Where's the closest bulk barn? Would it be? Is there still one in Shoppers World? I don't
Probably.
remember. Probably.
I'm not sure if there's any close bulk barns,
Hmm.
but there's one relatively close by, just not on my usual
Yeah.
travel route.
Yeah. The only one I can really remember is like Square One for the most part. But that's like if you, I don't know, if you want to get like specific spices or maybe like a specific grain that you could like you wouldn't find anywhere else. I guess.
Right. Veggies, we're looking at one leafy greens, so for me that's like spinach. And then the vegetable, I think we said carrots. I got baby carrots. I got dip. I'm going strong with that. I'm enjoying my baby carrots and dip. Snacks, multi-grain direction. So I got I don't. It's like I said like those Rivita like crisp breads or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can pull it up here because I don't think anybody is gonna know what I'm talking about if I just say Rivita crisp bread. It's like this stuff. I'll put it up on stream here. Basically just like a whole grain kind of cracker almost. You can spread things on it. You can use it for dip. You can crumble it. It's really good. But yeah, that's kind of what we're going for crackers and carbs here. What else we got?
I was gonna say before we move on to fats, is there such a thing as like you know like the rice cakes, like whole grain like rice cakes are made from like a different grain? Is that a thing?
I don't know. Like all of the rice products I've seen are just like, well, I don't know. It's just right. Like I had some rice crackers yesterday.
Yeah.
Actually, it was like rice and corn. It was kind of interesting.
I wonder how calorie dense. You know, remember those corn chips?
Oh, like tortilla chips?
Yeah, because I not even like tortilla chips, but like they're specific. They're like called corn chips. They're
Oh.
like hold up. I need to refresh myself in regards to what I'm talking about. Yeah, just like search up corn chip, and then like the first picture on Google on like the left, they're like kind of like rolled up a little bit. I have like a memory of these from like my childhood.
I think I know what you mean.
I remember how calorie dense those boys are. Probably the same as like a normal tortilla chip, but
I don't know if I've ever had these, to be honest with you. They kind of look like tortilla chips. They just look like they're. Are these not tortilla chips?
you know, think like Fritos.
I have never had Fritos.
I mean, that would be probably like the
Like
unhealthy.
like
version of, like, tortilla chips.
I know what these are, but I mean these just look like more like less processed tortilla chips.
Yeah.
It's like baked tortilla chips. Although
Yeah, I think that's what I was going
Aren't all
with.
tortilla chips baked, or are they not?
I assume some are just fried.
Because yeah, I assume so. But yeah, these look like baked tortillas, which I mean that's good too. I mean it's certainly healthier than regular tortillas.
Or just regular chips in general.
Like I remember there was a little while ago, all the chip companies came out with like their baked line. Do you remember that? Like their like or I think no, Pringles are like naturally baked, but like other companies were like now in baked form, and it was just like a basically thicker, kind of looked like this, a little like bubbly, thicker, a little bit healthier too, just not as much saturated fats in there.
I don't remember, but like if you show like
There was
if I saw like a bag, I'd be like, I remember now.
yeah, there was a huge craze for baked chips.
Yeah. I just remember. Do you like potatoes?
I do. The problem I find with potatoes is I don't eat them fast enough, and they start to grow wherever I'm keeping
Oh,
them.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. How do you feel about popcorn?
I don't like popcorn. I'll be honest with you. Like I don't feel like
Really?
I get anything out of it. It doesn't fill me. There's no like calories in it.
That's fair. No like real nutritional value.
I don't feel like I'm getting anything out of popcorn.
All right.
Fats.
Moving to fats.
Well, eggs.
Yes.
I mean, other than my fish and well, We're gonna throw some nuts in there. What did we say? Like peanuts, cashews. Those are really the two nuts that I enjoy. Maybe
Yeah.
almonds if I'm feeling kind of healthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're probably gonna stick with eggs for fat and the fat content in my fish, as well as olive oil. Like I cook with olive oil for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Dairy, we said, well, since I kind of like was aware that I needed to make dietary changes, I've kind of cut dairy out almost entirely. Like I'll have cheese on some things, but I don't go crazy with the cheese like I used to. Like milk I haven't had in over a year, and I think partially the reason attributing to my weight gain was I was drinking a lot of 2% milk, because I used to like just drink milk as a beverage, instead of like an ingredient. Like,
Yeah.
and there seems to be this whole debate online that you're an absolute psycho if you just drink milk, but I mean, I loved milk. Yeah, milk was good, but yeah, I've cut that out just because I found, obviously with 2%, that's a lot of fat content. And where are we here? So yeah, cheese, milk, butter. I don't really do butter at all. Like if I need anything that butter would provide, I kind of just use oil.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we just kind of kept like, as I guess, like 1 to 2 comfort staples, like a cheese, maybe like a skim milk or something, and then your fattier meats. You know, in regards to like your saturated fat options.
yeah, I'll be honest. I would rather take no milk than have to drink skim milk.
Really, you don't like skim milk?
No, it's milk water. It's disgusting.
No, it's milk water.
It's milk water.
I know we had like a big discussion trying to find like a plant-based milk, but you said you're not rocking with almond milk. You're not. Did we really talk about oat milk?
Yeah, so I could do oat milk. I could do soy milk. I'm not a huge fan of almond milk.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll probably have to find some kind of milk substitute for me.
Eventually, we'll see. If I guess, like, I remember, are you a cereal guy? I forget.
I used to be. I used to love cereal.
We might bring back cereal with like an oat milk or something like that, just as like a pre-workout meal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just to kind of, you know, a multigrain cereal, something that's just a little bit easier to digest, with like a protein powder or something.
Well,
you know, as a pre-workout meal.
I used to eat Vector. That was my go-to, which is a good cereal for, you know, like protein and fiber and all that stuff.
That shit was so expensive and it doesn't last. That's the only problem.
That's the thing. It's like $10 for like a jumbo box, which to me is like a regular size box.
Lasts like a week.
Which not even, like 4 days.
Yeah.
Totally not worth it. And that's why I kind of cut out cereal, just because like cost effective wise, it was not cost effective to eat cereal.
I just use oats.
Mm-hmm.
Oats are just way cheaper and last you a lot longer. Is this a good segue into the actual training program then?
Yeah, so let's set that up. So basically we're going to, starting not next week but the week after that, give myself some time to kind of prepare, get everything ready to go. An actual full training program, which should be pretty cool. Let me see if I can spread this out a little bit. So basically we set this up with, I guess, realism in mind, looking at like what I can and can't do. Obviously I got a fairly busy schedule now, but yeah, let's take a look at it. So we started with identifying kind of what goals I wanted to hit. Did we type that down anywhere? Oh, we kind of did actually, yeah, right here. So generally the goal was overall strength, general athleticism for the strength training portion anyways, just because, you know, I'm not trying to get jacked. I'm not trying to get into bodybuilding. I'm not, you know, trying to get better at a sport. I just want to be able to perform any movement with a high degree of efficacy and just feel overall functional. Yeah. That's the goal. For at least the strength training, and then we got some cardio training in there just because, well, if you watch the last podcast, working on joining the armed forces, still, I'll get into that another time, but essentially there's some fitness goals that I need to get kind of up to snuff before hopefully that continues. So we're looking at cardio training. We're looking at trying to get 3 kilometers in about 12 minutes. So that's a pace of about 4 minutes per kilometer.
Yes.
So combining those two things, we kind of set out a frequency. So the strength training, well, actually, I think this is a little bit not as updated. So I'll go to the actual thing because we kind of spread this out a little bit easier. But
is this it's the across 4 days, right?
No, so this is just we put all the stuff we wanted to get in.
So yeah. Sorry, I was looking at a different one. Mm-hmm. So, I was looking at the actual training plan.
Yeah, I'll switch to that in a second. But we came up with kind of all the different movement types we needed to cover for the program to kind of get the gains that I'm looking for here, and a bunch of examples of things that we can do to kind of hit and isolate those movements. So the main thing was my serratus, because I think so. If you don't know anatomy, your serratus is basically, you can kind of feel it. It's, without getting into anatomical terms, basically from like the bottom of your armpit, it's kind of gonna like come down to like the middle of your chest a little bit. It's kind of like underneath your pecs and like kind of crosses your lats. And generally, I would say is a pretty undertrained muscle for a lot of people because they either focus on the pecs or the lats. And there is some cross-training to be done there between, like, obviously, if you're doing lats, you're going to hit some of the serratus. And if you're doing pecs, you're going to hit some of the serratus. But nobody really trains the serratus specifically, which is a huge muscle for shoulder mobility. So for that, we got some, like, scapular push-ups, some regular push-ups, some row pull down variations, just to kind of get this whole general area functional, just because it is severely undertrained. We're going to throw some knee dominant exercises in there. So we got some split squats, barbell front squats, some hip hinges. So things like deadlifts, variations of deadlifts, leg curls, stuff like that. We're going to get some calves, which is light calf work because the running, and this is to kind of go hand in hand with the running, because the running, obviously, running is a very lower body dominant movement, so we don't want to kill my lower body by going crazy in the gym for legs and then going for a run and killing my legs even further. So just general maintenance stuff like calves and tibialis raises. Horizontal presses, we got like incline presses, stuff like that, rows, pull downs, and stuff for the triceps, because that's another underdeveloped muscle of mine, things that I don't really train. So let's move into how we spread this out into something kind of realistic. So we got training day 1. So basically we kind of determined we want to train 4 days a week, because I think that's realistic for me. 2 of those days are going to be in the gym, and then 2 of these days are going to be done kind of at home, on my own time, essentially. So training day 1, this is going to be in the gym. We're going to start with just a 3 kilometer treadmill run, kind of working on that 3 kilometer pace we want to maintain. Followed by, we got our strength training. So basically day 1 is going to look like barbell power cleans, a single arm seated cable row, a single leg seated leg crossing. That's a typo.
I put an extra seated in there. Single leg seated, yeah. Fine.
Basically just, single leg curl. We got the rope tricep press down, and standing rope cable face pull, with our sets and reps and rest time set accordingly. So not super. This is not heavy work. This is not something I'm gonna come home from and be like, damn, I cannot move. This is just a good split to kind of get the goals that I'm looking for, which is not crazy insane goals. This is just general maintenance athleticism.
Yeah, slash some very specific work. Well, not specific work, but
like
we're doing some
targeted areas.
Yeah, unilateral work, like the single leg seated leg curl. That is simply just to you can train the hamstrings through hip extension and hip flexion, but we also train the hamstrings through knee flexion and extension. And if you look at running, it's a lot of flexion and extension of the knee. So we want to get a little minimal amount of strength training to just strengthen the hamstrings without over fatiguing them for the most part.
Mm-hmm. So moving on to day 2, probably sometime in the middle of the week. It's going to be an at-home day, so this is like very quick. Honestly, you could probably get this done in like 15-20 minutes. It's basically just like a split squat. We got a single arm hammer curl, which reminds me I need to buy some dumbbells. Not necessarily. I do have kettlebells, so in the midterm, if I can't get my hands on dumbbells, which shouldn't be an issue.
You just turned to a single arm kettlebell curl.
Yeah. Single leg standing calf raise and some single leg tibialis raises. Very light work. Probably do this on a day where I've been busy all day and just kind of end out the day with something like this, just because it's not super intensive. I can
do you want to do a quick note on the tibialis raise? Because I'm like what that is.
Right. So, I think everyone can figure out what a calf raise is. Basically, if you're standing up on your tippy toes. You're moving in plantar flexion, extending that calf.
Pretty much down.
Tibialis is basically doing the opposite movement of that. So you're bringing your toes to your shin, essentially, which is going to be your tibialis anterior muscle. How I've kind of decided to do this is kind of like seated. So basically just with a resistance band wrapped around my toes, I'm just going to bring my toes towards my body, hold it there for a couple seconds, move it back, and just move within that range of motion. Between that and the calf raises, we're getting full ankle strengthening, full calf raises, calf strengthening, and getting that whole lower extremity kind of covered.
I just realized if you end up getting like a different kettlebell or a dumbbell, you could just put the one kettlebell on one side of the band, another kettlebell on the other side of the band, and boom, you got it.
Exactly. What else we got here? So training day 3, we're back in the gym. Looking at a barbell front squat. It's going to be a little bit more loaded than the last couple of days here. We're going to barbell front squat, dumbbell incline press. We got Romanian deadlift, single leg Romanian deadlifts, single arm lat pull downs, and some overhead tricep cable extensions. So again, we're covering all the areas of the body we want to cover. It's very well kind of spread out. We got our sets and reps set accordingly. This is probably we don't have any running set for this day just because it is a bit of a more loaded session. And then moving on to training day 4, probably we'll follow this kind of sequentially. So training day 1 will come before training day 2. So this will be the last day of my week. We get outdoor running. It's getting, I wouldn't say it's getting warmer, but I'm going to try my best to get outdoors and do some running. Obviously got to bundle up for that, but I think we can make it. And as we move into the spring, this is going to get a little bit easier as well.
Yeah. I mean, the whole point of the outdoor running is so we can decrease our number of days in the gym,
right,
just for,
because I don't have a treadmill, so, I don't want to go to the gym just to run. Plus it allows us to kind of spread out the running a little bit more.
Yeah.
We'll do an outdoor run. Shoot for that 3 kilometers. Just work on that pace. I think we said shave 10 seconds off a week from the pace. Was it 10 to 15?
I believe it was 10 or 15, but I think 10, 5 to 10 seconds, anywhere in that range is probably more realistic.
Right. Because right now I'm sitting at around 6.5 minutes per kilometer, which not fantastic if we're trying to hit 4 minutes per kilometer. But we'll get there.
Yeah, actually, 10 to 15 seconds I think is reasonable in the span of a month.
Yeah.
Shaving off a minute, I think that's fairly reasonable.
More or less, yeah. And then the strength training that I can just do at home. We're looking at push-ups, and we're going to do some scapular push-ups as a warm-up. Some single leg twist curls again, bringing in those dumbbells. Single leg standing calf raises again, and the tibialis raises again. So overall, pretty easy to do. It's very well contained in their respective days, and realistically, I can fit this into my lifestyle.
Yeah, and I forgot to. I remember in the spreadsheet we put some anti-extension work in regards to anti ab extension.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot to put that in there, at least in the place of a plank. Do you think we need that in there? Just a standard plank.
Plank. So I've got a pretty good warm up that I do well for myself and all of my athletes as well. And plank is thrown in there as well. So plank will probably be done on all 4 of these days as part of the
okay, but not as an actual movement. Just
not as an actual movement. Just
just
1 minute front plank and then side plank 1 minute each on each side. So about 3 minutes of planking in total.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so we got that in there as well. Trying to think if there's anything we missed out. No. If anybody's wondering, a lot of the unilateral one arm, one leg stuff. One is if it's at home, it's because the weight. It's just kind of necessary if you don't have both to do both sides. And then at the gym, it's just to isolate each side, especially since for that for the rowing or any pull down or any scapular retraction movements. You said your one of Matt's shoulders a little funky right now, so just keeping that in mind.
So at this point, I'm honestly gonna say both shoulders are a little bit funky right now. I haven't done any movement today, and they're already kind of doing some messed up shit to me right now. So hopefully we can figure that out. I think with movement it'll correct itself, because that's how it corrected itself last time I had shoulder issues. Just gotta get moving.
Hopefully.
Staying stagnant is not the best way to heal in this scenario, anyways.
Yeah, ideally, with a little bit of training here and there, hopefully it goes away. If it doesn't, we just move down the route of, ultrasound, go see physio, and see if there's anything specific going on in there,
Right.
I doubt it would, do you think there might be something structurally up with your shoulder? Or, the one that's, been hurt the longer?
No, I think the majority of it just comes down to postural issues, which generally caused, I want to say, by, overuse and just... mainly postural issues. Again, I think the shoulder stuff, because I sleep on my sides as well. And I tend to sleep more, I want to say, on my left side than on my right. My left side is currently my worst shoulder.
Yeah.
So a lot of it does come down to how I'm sleeping as well, which is just unfortunate, because I can't sleep on my back physically. I can't breathe if I'm sleeping on my back.
Really?
I don't know how people sleep on their backs.
I've been called a psychopath because I sleep on my back.
That is psychopath activity. You just wake up, you're looking at the ceiling. That to me is very odd.
No, this is it. I sleep on my back, but my neck is turned to one side or the other. Does that make it better?
No, I can't imagine that being any more comfortable.
It's just, I don't know, for me, I find it comfortable. I like sleeping on my back, but it's not I bring my pillow lower. It's not just my neck on the pillow, it's my upper back and my neck.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't know. That's how I've always slept, and that's just how I find myself comfortable. It's because I like to spread myself out on my bed.
Right.
I'm that guy. I take up, my girlfriend, she hates because I take up the entire bed. It's I can't be slept with.
I tend to sleep diagonally just because of my height, and, growing up, and I think I probably outgrew a double bed when I was 12. I had my feet dangling off the end. But, so good things are in the works. Probably starting in a couple of weeks, we're going to move on to phase 2 of Project Skinny Matt has been accomplished, I say, at this point.
It's now Project Healthy Functional Matt.
Yeah, Project Functional Matt.
Project Functional Matt / Project Military Matt, potentially. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I don't know. I assume they're on Christmas vacation still, so I'm waiting for them to get back to me, but we'll see what happens with that.
All right. Is that pretty much it for the episode?
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up there. We'll hopefully it won't be another 2 months before we do another one. Hopefully we'll have some progress to kind of share. But yeah, we'll keep it updated with how things are going.
All right.
All right. With that, we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Episode brought to you by Hydro Flask.
Hopefully, yes.
As usual.
Yes.